As a matter of fact, it's a beautiful day and I'm so excited that it's Friday. TGIF, and I want to especially welcome you to today's edition of Outnumbered with Ramsey Enoch, Michael Oweleketv, and who do we have right here? Benedict is right here. Good morning, Benedict. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Mr. Ramsey.
Benedict Akwebu.
Good morning.
Benedict. But you know what?
That's such a name.
There's something about that name, but I don't say it now.
I love this football.
But the haircut is looking smart. It's looking
Thank
sharp.
you so much.
I actually want you to take a picture today.
And propose this weekend.
Just take a shot. Proposer? Please don't go proposing this time. Let's get to first news this morning. Let's see the papers and bring you to speed with the major headlines. This one says, I'm beginning from the big story, of course, because I like big things, you know. The kicker says, fuel relief inside. Fuel relief inside. That's the kicker. Port Harcourt Refinery set for operation in weeks. I don't want to say much about that. All right, so then this one says tomato pepper price crash to 60,000 naira per basket amid hunger protests, meaning the protest is actually working, if that is what has reduced the price of this essential. I called it essential because these are commodities that people look for almost on a daily basis. Then this one says NLC headquarters raid. That's the kicker. DSS denies involvement. Then who did it? That's the big question. Arik Air back in sky as federal government resolve dispute with Atlas Petroleum. This one says our federal government halts 40,000 naira subsidized rice sale to civil servants. You heard on the program here that the civil servants have been asked to do some form of documentation and they will decide who is actually qualified to buy a bag of rice for 40 naira as far as the subsidy is concerned. But now they said the subsidized rice is not for civil 40,000 naira. Yeah. Did I say 40 naira?
Yeah.
Oh, 40,000 naira,
It
man.
buy nothing.
Prayer. Let it come to 40 naira, not 40,000
That's
anymore.
1979.
Yeah, if we can go back to the old anthem, why not? We can also go back to it. All right, Michael, thank you. Which of the papers do we have? Let's get to the next paper. The Guardian. Guide us. Let's go.
Let's move straight to the Guardian today. The kicker says White Elephant Project. That's the big story on page 4 and 5 of the Guardian. Billions in drains as Southeast struggles with abandoned mega projects. Away from that, Nigeria's $20 billion project can fast track development far below global peers, says Bagudu. Details on page 6. Away from that, federal government halts sale of 40,000 subsidized rice to civil servants. You just heard that, from Ramsey. Away from that, Afenifere kicks against Igbo must go threat. Divisive rhetoric. Details on page 28. Nigerian Labour Congress decides to respond today as DSS denies invasion of headquarters. And the last story I'll take on the Guardian newspaper today. Plateau Kaduna relax curfew as group alleges extrajudicial killings. That's not good. Details on page 30. Do well to pick a copy of the Guardian today and enjoy interesting stories. Over to you, Benedict.
All right, thank you, Michael. I'll be reading from the Vanguard newspaper this morning. From the top of the story there, we are seeing a story from Edo elections. It says, Edo Guba, 17 party nominees, only 55.6% of polling units. Coalition agents, that's INEC, saying there. And I'll just go to the big story from the Vanguard newspaper. It says, Atiku Obi CSOs orders films over raid of NLC HQ by security agents. Atiku Obi CSOs orders film over raid of NLC headquarters by security agents, and there are some writers to that story.
NLC headquarters will have cameras, CCTV to cover who raided.
It should. It should.
Exactly.
So many things. See, NLC is not a small body.
Yeah, the secretariat.
It's not NLC is not a small body. And that's the reason anytime they want to go on a nationwide strike, the government quickly call them to the round table.
Absolutely.
So if this kind of thing is happening,
We should know.
we should know who is doing
corporate
this.
raided, yeah.
Who raided the place?
The place.
If it's not DSS, what's the CCTV camera saying?
You know, the writer to that story is saying, we are still in shock by the invasion. That's NLC, TUC, and ITUC saying, and they are demanding investigation. Definitely, they will get an investigation to those stories to know what really happened. And another story from the Vanguard newspaper here, it says, Afenifere to Tinubu, probe killings, call for military interventions during protests. Probe killings, calls for military interventions during protests. And the last one I'll be taking from this very newspaper here. Protests, Tinubu has adopted propaganda as state policy. That's Atiku saying that. So Tinubu has adopted
Opposition party,
propaganda as state policy. Okay, that will be all from the Vanguard newspaper. Back to you, Mr. Ramsey.
Well, Atiku, Peter Obi, and every other person have been speaking.
Yeah.
I think the person I've not heard from lately is Soaring. Even during the protest, some persons were saying that they didn't hear so much from Soaring, unlike him. All right, finally from the Daily Trust newspaper this morning, I will always want to begin with the big story. And this is what the big story is saying. What we lost during protest. Traders, transporters are the ones saying this, and details read on page 4 about 4 riders to that story. Over 5 billion naira worth of goods looted. This is coming from Kano businessman. The second rider says our supplies truncated. This coming from Bruno and Yobe traders. We are caged in jars. Curfew relaxed in states. Those are the riders to that story. Then this one says federal government suspends plan to sell 40,000 naira subsidized rice to civil servants. I think this reversal is coming timely because people were already shooting bullets. People were wondering, is it civil servants you told us that they are the poorest of the poor?
Poorest of the poor? No.
Are they the poorest of the
But most
poor?
times people get to wonder, like, does the federal government actually think before they push out their statements?
My brother,
Like, so
they
they
keep withdrawing statements.
Yes, a whole lot that they are taking back. They don't really reason before they put it out there, or what is that?
You want to give palliative, then you're starting from civil servant.
Our former CAF president, Issa Hayatu, dies at 78. Well, may his gentle soul rest in peace. Issa Hayatu is one voice in the water sport and seriously recognized by FIFA. And he has been on that seat for a very long time. And he wasn't on seat because he was doing well. We want to say may his soul rest in perfect peace. And finally, from here, 25 die in Bayelsa, Jigawa, both mishap. And that's the most we'll be taking from the Daily Trust newspaper. Let's go on a quick break. After the break, we'll return. I want to talk about the promises that we get from the government every time. It is one thing to make promises during your political campaign, and it's another thing to make promises while you are on seat. But the bottom line is, what is the level of fulfillment of these promises? More coming after the break.
Follow us on our social media handles at Oweleketv. Visit our website at www.oweleketv for a thrilling journey. Oweleketv, rising star at the fairground.
Welcome back from that break. It is still Outnumbered live on your screen, and this is the time for the big story. What's the big story all about this morning? Remember the first promise that we had from this administration when they assumed office, especially after the removal of the subsidy. We were made to understand that the refineries in this country were going to start working. Promises were made, and a lot of shift was also made. It's going to come up December. No, not December anymore. It's going to come up by January. No, not January anymore. In 2 months' time. Today, it is in weeks' time. Weeks' time could be next year because weeks will keep rolling for as long as heaven and earth remains. But then, let's talk about it now. The federal government is saying, it is a promise coming from the papers this morning, that Port Harcourt Refinery, all right, is set for operations in weeks. All of these things are beginning to come up after Dangote Refinery came up. Up till now, despite the fact that the president has given instruction that crude should be given to Dangote Refinery and other indigenous refineries, if they really exist, because I've not heard about any, should be given refinery and should be given crude, and the crude should be bought in naira. Up to now, we've not heard anything. Today, we're hearing that Port Harcourt Refinery is going to start operation in weeks. How does this really sound? Are you guys tired of these promises, or we should just keep hope alive and keep believing whatever we hear?
Very tired, because this announcement comes as part of the the government's ongoing effort to revitalize the nation's refining capacity and reduce dependence on imported petroleum product. But this is not the first time Nigeria is hearing this, especially from Mele Kyari, the NNPC boss. We're tired of hearing this a whole lot. Okay, Nigeria is a country that has not had functional refinery for so long. We have in Warri, Port Harcourt, and Kaduna, right? Why have they not been functional? Okay, why is it now that they are already trying to sabotage the effort of Aliko Dangote, that they are now talking about Port Harcourt Refinery? Sir, I just heard that they borrowed $1.5 billion from a creditor who they promised that, hey, once we start, we're going to pay you back from the operations we started. I said they did not name the creditor. They said it's one of these African financial institutions. It wasn't named. They borrowed $1.5 billion for Port Harcourt Refinery to start. And then NNPC is also telling us that because of the effect of dollar on oil, on petroleum, we won't be selling, because Nigerians are asking, okay, if Vodacom refinery starts, does it mean you guys will crash the price? That's the most expedient question, because when the price is crashed, it affects all spheres of the economy: food, commodity, and everything, electricity, water, and everything. That's what it does. That's what petroleum. That's how important petroleum is to this economy. But then he's saying, the dollars. Remember that we borrowed 1.5 billion from an African destination. We still have.
That's not the next case.
You know what they're saying? We still have to pay back before we talk about bringing it down. It depends on the marketers and operators if they want to. So they are the one that have the prerequisite, or they are the one that have the prerogative.
Why should they give that kind of power to marketers? And I don't know.
I remember this refinery will operate independently from federal government interference, so they can do whatever they want. Okay, Dangote has said, I want to start this and subsidize the price. Why has it not been given everything needed, every support needed to start? And now Port Harcourt Refinery, I don't know.
Well, I think there are so many. I feel there are so many things we don't know. As at yesterday, Kyari said at the right time he's going to tell Nigerians the truth. All right. This morning, Bode George, Bode George, the pedigree of Bode George and the kind of person he is in Nigeria. He said Nigerians deserve to know the truth about fuel subsidy removal, meaning there are things we don't even know in this country.
Absolutely.
Why these ups and downs? What does it? What do you feel it poses on the minds of Nigerians,
Okay.
especially in this time?
Okay, I'll start by saying I think the move they are making actually is I will say is the wrong move at this point, because let's just assume that Aliko Dangote just came up with a refinery that everybody was praising in the country, and all of a sudden you are telling us that Port Harcourt Refinery is going to start functioning. So I think there are a whole lot of enemy of state in Nigeria right now, because I think Dangote is actually going to stop a lot to go to a lot of people right now at this point if he starts production. And that's exactly what these guys are trying to boycott, to make sure that Dangote doesn't succeed in his own part, because they know that if he succeeds, it's going to affect them.
Absolutely.
And so now someone is coming up with promises like over time you're telling us we are going to start production in this period. We are not seeing any results, and now you just came up on an interview the other day and you're telling us in weeks time. And I was listening to the number of what we are producing. He said 11 to 15 million per day. Those are promises when we don't even see anything coming forth on what you are saying. So
Nigerians are even tired of promises.
A whole lot of promises coming up. I see it as a speculation that is targeted at trying to cripple the refinery from Aliko Dangote and to keep the enemies of the state existing. And I think it's the responsibility of the president. I don't know, a whole lot is tied down on his neck, but though that's his responsibility, that's what he signed up for. So I think he needs to do a lot in fighting these guys. There are a whole lot of cabals in Nigeria that needs to be fought, and especially in the oil sector, there's a whole lot that is going on.
Do you know that Nigerians really believed in the president? You know why? Because the president, what people feel, he's someone that is so experienced
and influential too.
Okay, and someone that should not be scared of any cabal, or if they really exist.
True.
Because one of the first things he did, the removal of fuel subsidy, when he said some elites of elites in Nigeria are the ones sitting on this fuel subsidy, and he came and removed it. But then, if there are cabals trying to frustrate his effort, he shouldn't just sit down and watch, irrespective of who they are. Because whatever happens now, the accusing finger goes to the president. Absolutely. Because he is the overall father of the nation. He's the number one citizen, the president of the nation. So he shouldn't keep quiet.
That's why there's conspicuous doubt about this pronouncement about August timeline for Port Harcourt Refinery to kickstart.
All of a sudden,
we've been talking about Dangote all year from January.
This sounds like a distraction.
You're telling us. So I'm not supposed to express.
Let's finish with Dangote Refinery before we even go to Port Harcourt.
They're not telling us about what.
Because these refineries have been there for only God knows when.
A long time. How?
Port Harcourt, Kaduna, Warri.
When did they start the rehabilitation of this Port Harcourt refinery? It has gone to the state of deplorability. It has decayed.
Can I tell you something? Don't be surprised that these refineries that are not working have staffs that are taking salaries monthly.
Absolutely.
And they are not working.
And you know, the funny thing about the whole thing is that they are still going up to take loans to invest in these projects, taking more loans. Just I think what he read now was that it took up to $1.5 billion.
And who will you hold?
Who will pay for it?
Who will pay? When there is no accountability.
You know what they said? We are still going to sell fuel at the current rate. So we're buying at $6.90 per, if I'm right, $6.90 per liter, and you're telling us Refinery is starting to still sell at the same rate. It's just that we're going to have enough fuel. The 10 to 15 million produced per barrel. What are we doing with that?
I think Nigerians are already waking up from their sleep, because the protest is a wake-up call to the people in authority. That's to say, Nigerians at any point in time can get tired of situations and react to it. So I think what the authorities should be doing is to know, first of all, that Nigerians are very intelligent set of people. Whatever you say, account for it. Mean what you say. Be sincere, be serious with what you say, because life is one. All right, and everyone is breathing. Everyone have breath, same like every other person. So no one should be treated with some form of neglect, carelessness, or whatever adjective you may want to use. This is going to be the size of the big story on Outnumbered this morning. This is Friday. As you go about your normal businesses, make sure you are security conscious. Don't spend beyond, or let me say above, your capacity. Don't try to impress anyone right now, because no one even cares. All right? Whatever you do, drop your pride and let's make Nigeria great again. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you so much.
We'll be together again. That's going to be on Monday. All right. Join us on Monday for more coming from Oweleketv. My name is Ramsey Enoch. Bye-bye for now.